Obviously the title is clickbait. Duh. What is up, my dreamers, believers, and adventure seekers? I had no intention on making a video about this subject, and yet here I am! So you can thank Monique and someone on Twitter who told me to watch this movie and yell about it. Yeah, this is gonna be a review. I know in my last after-related video, I ended up rewriting the movie because so many people at that point had their own rant reviews about the movie subject, so I didn't feel like I would be contributing anything new to it, so I just kind of took my own spin on it. So that's where the difference in this stems from. I don't even know if did that make sense? I don't think so. But yeah, I watched the movie. I watched it twice, unfortunately, because I had to get everything down that it bothered me, and there was a lot. And I have notes. I have notes. Not just one page. Not just two, but 6 pages. Obviously, there's gonna be spoilers because I'm gonna go into excruciating detail about this film. So if you're trying to figure out whether or not you should watch it, I'm personally gonna tell you don't before we get into the everything that is this movie. We got a sponsor, baby! Picture this! It's been 3 years and the Backstreet Boys have finally finished their global tour. You're free to travel across the world, so you go to one of the many places your heart has called home since quarantine, South Korea. As you're walking down the streets of Seoul, you accidentally bump into a stranger. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry! You start apologizing until you realize the person you've bumped into is Suga of BTS, Min Yoongi! You're starstruck and immediately begin to gush with adoration. He responds back, and the two of you begin to have a conversation, but then you realize you can't understand what he's saying because you're the idiot who went to Seoul but can't understand Korean. He starts lecturing you of your incompetence because you're the idiot who went to Seoul but can't understand Korean. You fumble for your phone in hopes that Google Translate will salvage the situation because you're the idiot who went to Seoul but can't understand Korean. But it's too late. He's gone. He'd rather go make millions off of a single tweet than stand and roast a silly foreigner. So that's it. That was your moment. And you lost it. Hi, this could have been you, but it wasn't. How? Because of Rosetta Stone. You've heard of Rosetta Stone. They've been around for quite some time now, about 25 years to be precise. And they're one of the leading language companies of our time. And we can all agree that learning languages is hard if you don't know what you're doing. However, Rosetta Stone's got your back. With their app, you're able to learn a multitude of languages from the palm of your hand. They also have multiple course plans for you to choose from that you think would be best for you to follow through so you can learn. I've been using the app to learn Korean, and I want to point out that it is in no way relationship to the hypothetical events that were mentioned prior. Just saying. No, I'm learning it so my sister can live vicariously through me. Long story. But I think one of my favorite things while I've been learning the language is their speak recognition software that they have, in which they'll pronounce the word or the phrase you're trying to learn and then you can speak it back to them, and it lets you know whether or not you pronounced it right or wrong, which is very important, especially if you're trying to learn a very soft language like Korean when your native language, like for me English, has a lot of hard sounds. You know what I mean? That's just something that I personally really enjoy, and honestly I've been learning from it. Part of my pronunciation, but I know how to say yes and no, ne, 아니야. I know how to say woman and man, 여자, 남자. I know how to say apple, 사과, bruh. So if you've been interested in learning another language for quite some time now, not to mention we are in a pandemic, so it's not like you don't have the time, you can click the link in the description below to get a special discount on all of their monthly subscriptions. You can also use my special offer code, which gives you unlimited access to the entire app for only $1.99. Sounds phenomenal because you could have a plethora of languages at your fingertips, and once you have it, it's yours for life. So yeah, if you're interested in that, I would highly recommend that you check out all the information that I have described down below. How do you say cat? It's Koye, right? Koye? I'm still learning. So thank you to Rosetta Stone for sponsoring this video. Lord knows I need it. Okay, so where do I even start? So after we collided, after 2 opens up with this ridiculous intro that is in no way true. It's basically Hardin just monologuing about the last movie as if you're watching this for the first time with no context, which is so stupid because the only people watching this movie are the people who watched the first one. This man is acting as if his relationship with Tessa is something out of a Bronte novel, something written by Jane Austen, okay? The equivalence of William Shakespeare. Honey, it's not. You're from Wattpad. Know your place. This movie starts a month later after the events of the last film, and it's weird. After it has that prologue monologue, it cuts to Hardin sleeping in his car outside of the train tracks, which I don't know why they did this, because it gives the implication that Hardin's homeless, which we know he's not, because first of all, he has that apartment, he has the frat house that he used to live in, so he could obviously go back there if he didn't want to stay at the friggin' other place. And then he also has his parents' home, his dad's house, which he also could stay at. So I don't freaking know. And then there's also a homeless man, which we'll call back to that later. They really want to drive it home to you that the season is Christmas, despite the fact that the entire film gives the clear implication that it is in fact summer. So while Hardin's being homeless or whatever, Tessa is on her way to her new job at the internship, which I'm surprised she still got because she and Hardin weren't together, but whatever the frick. I guess get your coin, sis. Get that bread, get that head, then leave. Peace out, hey. So she's running late for her new job, and then obviously there's a scene where she runs to the elevator and then she doesn't get on, and then she immediately yells at her coworker, or like she doesn't even know it's her coworker, but like if you're at this new job, why would you yell at someone? I don't know. Friggin', it's just stupid. She gets to her job, she gets to her office, and it's a mess because apparently the guy who owns the building or the company can never keep interns. Okay, seems like poor business management, but who am I to judge? So basically Tessa's job is to go through manuscripts and determine which she thinks is good and which she thinks will do well in the market. So I like to think she got there early in the day, and maybe she spent the entire day cleaning her office because she ends up staying overnight reading the manuscripts. So it cuts to her waking up the next day because she had slept the night at the office, and her boss is in there, and Tessa's worried that she's gonna get fired based on what she heard the hiring manager say. And the boss is just like, you read all these manuscripts and you think that this book is worthy to be read? And she's like, yeah. And then the man's just like, come on, we're going. And then he takes her to this conference that she had no information about, which to me doesn't make sense. I know I'm nitpicking, but it's the stupid things like this that bother me. Like, at least make it plausible. Because literally, it's Sis's first day, and you're telling me that they had planned to take her along on this conference to do deals and stuff. Like, I don't understand it, because like she's new. It's her first day out here. They literally know nothing about her. They have no idea if she's competent enough to do this. That doesn't even seem to be in her job description, and yet you're making it as if it is? And to add things on to that, she had no idea what was going on. She thought, okay, this is my job, this is what's gonna do, and then they just kind of bring her along like, oh, Tessa, you're going to this conference thing that we didn't tell you about, you had no notice about, so you have no preparation for it whatsoever, but you're coming with us, and she has to go along with it. Like, again, doesn't sound like good business management to me. So then the movie cuts to Hardin banging on some woman's door. It's this tattoo artist lady or whatever the frick. And oh my gosh, he's so sad. So sad. He gets a tattoo of ribbons. It's literally not relevant to the film whatsoever. There is one line that he says that is just like, ugh. He's about to get this stupid tattoo on his arm, and the artist hands him a bottle of alcohol, and she's just like, here, it'll numb the pain. And he's like, I like the pain. I'm just like, if you don't sit yourself down, you freaking. For some reason, they try to make it seem as if Tessa and Trevor have like a rival relationship, which makes no sense because literally they just met. So then they get to their hotel place where the conference is at, even though we never see it, which is all right, fine. Because Tessa was not aware that she was coming along to this, she doesn't have anything. So then Vance is just like, honey, make sure Tessa looks immaculate tonight. You got it, babe. Like, they really wanted to say she's YN. She's the worst kind of YN possible, but she is YN. I probably should just cut this out because, I mean, there's like no one definitive look for what a bad boy is. But like in my mind, when I think of a bad boy, I think of like bad boy, Wattpad bad boy, you know, like chiseled abs, piercings, tattoos, that look of intimidation, which I never get from this man, by the way. Honestly, I'm more intimidated by that one clip of Namjoon just standing in that, like this, I don't know what this is from, but I see this all the time, and honestly, it shakes me at my core. Hardin gets a couple of texts from his old gang. I don't know if he's friends with them or not. I don't think he is. I don't freaking know. I really don't care. Asking him to come out and party with them, but he's just like, nah. Then it cuts back to Tessa and her people, and it does this stupid YN descend down the staircase, which, again, this is petty and this is not relevant. But what is this outfit choice? Why is she wearing a gold metallic dress with these booties? What are these shoes? Why would you choose those shoes? I hate hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So basically the whole point of them being in the nightclub is that they're trying to make a deal with this, I think, socialite. I don't know. He's this rich dude. They don't ever say where. They say from a foreign country. They don't ever say where. It's implied that he speaks Mandarin, except every time that he speaks, there's no like translation to the language, which like there should be, because I always watch my movies with subtitles on and it just says foreign language. So they're at this club and Tessa and Trevor are chilling, I think trying to talk the guy up, which doesn't make sense to me, because if you're trying to get this man's money, should the manager, the business manager, the CEO, the man who brought you here be doing that? And you're just there for backup? But no, he's out there dancing, getting it on with this lady. Like, again, poor business management, but that's not my place to say. So the guy that they're trying to get their money from, they get drunk with this guy because that's how business is done in Wattpan land. So then Tessa gets drunk at the club because it's a giant thing of alcohol, and that happened. And then she goes out and dances and she makes out with a stranger, but the entire time she's hallucinating that it's Hardin. Great. And after Tessa has that situation, it cuts to Hardin at the frat house because he did end up going to the party, and he's just sitting there and he's so annoyed and he makes this face, and honestly, it's the funniest thing. It is probably one of my favorite things in this entire movie because it's just, this is how I felt watching this entire thing. And then Molly comes out of nowhere and she's just so stereotypical. It's annoying because she's just like, yes, it's me. I just lost so many effing pounds. F this, F that, because that's all my character says. Who's ready to smash? Because I am. Like, sis, I know that it's not your fault. It's the writing that made you this way, but please shut up. Also, who made the decision to give Molly those ugly streaks? Like, they look so bad. Honestly, I think the only decent acting scene, because the acting is horrendous the rest of this entire movie, was the drunk call, because that was the point that like I actually was entertained. Hardin and Molly get in a fight, and then as he's leaving the frat house, Tessa drunkenly calls him. She starts going off like, why haven't you texted me? Why haven't you called me? And he's just like, I have, you blocked my number. And she's just like, oh, whatever. Then he says, Tessa, where are you? I can find you. I have your location, which I am heavily confused, because how you gonna block his number but then you're not gonna unadd him on Find Your Friends? Like, Tessa hangs up, and then Trevor comes up to Tessa and he's just like, hey, I'm drunk, I'm uncomfortable, I am leaving, which honestly, iconic king. And then Tessa's like, me too, let's get fries and milkshakes. And so they get their food and they start talking. You know, they're just chatting on the couch, and Tessa's getting really flirtatious with him, like she's like touching him and stuff like that. And then it's the weirdest plot device ever. He says something about like, yeah, I don't like reading fiction, I'm a very non-fiction kind of person. And then he says something else quirky, and then she throws something at him, which then causes him to spill his glass of red wine like literally all over him. And so she's like, oh my gosh, I did not mean to do that. Like, it did not sound like it really sounded like she did plan for that to happen. Like, the way she said it, I kid you not. So then she's freaking out because she wants to get like the stain out or whatever. So she tells him to take off his clothes so she can clean it. Now, while this is happening, Hardin, being the wonderful man that he is, has his location and goes to her hotel. He finds her room, and honestly, this is the funniest, worst scene. Like, the acting is so bad because, again, this is our bad boy character. This man is supposed to emulate intimidation and power. Can I just play this clip? Like, it's so...
Hi. Yeah, come on in, why don't you? Hey.
Hey, Hardin, good to see you. How you been? Fucking Trevor!
It's so bad! Effing Trevor! One of the biggest issues I had in the first movie was the fact that Hardin showed literally no emotion, none whatsoever. So I don't know if this time around they told him, hey, you gotta act, like put some oomph into it. And he took that and said, okay, I'll do that, but to the extreme, because this man, at times it feels like he's overacting, and so it's still bad. So he's there. No reason he should be there. So then Trevor is kicked out, and then Tessa and him start yelling at each other, and then he sits down as if like he's there and like she did something wrong. She didn't do anything wrong. Y'all are broken up. You have no entitlement on her life. Go away, sir. Anyways, poor decisions are made. They sleep together, and Tessa is like late for meeting her bosses or whatever, because now they have to go to the actual convention. I don't know. And as she's like running out the door, Hardin's all like, oh baby, stay, come back to bed. She starts going off saying, no, I hate you, that was a mistake. And then she starts rambling on about her night and how it got to this point, and she mentions how she ended up kissing a stranger on the dance floor. And this part is very telling of their relationship, because the moment that she says she made out with someone, he is so pressed to the point where you can see visual fear on Tessa. So she's running out the door because she's late. He's following after her, except he's naked. So that she's like, put some clothes on so he does a cool magic trick freaking thing. So then they start screaming at each other in the hallway, and so many things are said. Like, it's so toxic. Again, Tessa kissing some random dude, she had every right to do that because she was not in a relationship. She could do whatever the hell she wants. But then Hardin says something like, my Tessa would never kiss a stranger. And then there's the iconic moment from the trailer, there's no your Tessa anymore. And then he goes to get back at her for making out with someone that wasn't his. He's like, well, why you were doing that? I was effing Molly, which he wasn't. So he literally just said that to make her feel bad and to hurt her, and then she curses him out, throws the thing at bread at him. Honestly, the bread did not deserve that, and then runs. This is so toxic. Like, this is not cute. I don't understand why we're still in 2020 and we're romanticizing abusive relationships. So they have that fight, it's whatever. It then cuts to Hardin seeking out Landon for advice, and Landon, he doesn't get why Hardin's there because I think it's implied that Hardin cut off his dad's side of the family. I don't know. He's got issues. So then he goes to Landon for advice on what to do because he hurt Tessa. Landon asks him, do you actually love her? And then Hardin's like, yeah. Buddy, no! The entire time I was just so baffled. I didn't understand why she wasn't with Trevor because honestly, the two of them, it's so much nicer. Like, this dude, he's so into her. Like, it's only due to the YN effect that he's into her, but he's so into her to the point that he makes a spreadsheet for her. I have a type A friend. A type A person will show their love by meticulously planning your entire life for you and helping you down to the wire with every single detail you need to know on how to do something. So the fact that he did that for her and then went out of his way to find her a car because she made a point to say how like she was taking Ubers to get to work and it was like racking up money and she couldn't afford it, and he did the research and found out that if she bought a car it would save her money, and then he was able to get the company to pay for her car insurance. Hi, Vance Publishing. If you're looking for any more interns, I am available for your services. And then later on, she gets even more benefits for this company. Like, I would kill for those. Oh my gosh. He does literally all this for her. And she's like so thankful, so excited because this is all a birthday gift for her. And she ends up kissing him and she's like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Which is like, girl, if you don't sit the frick down. Tessa gets her new car. She's with Landon testing it out, and then she hears from Landon like, yeah, Hardin's leaving for London. So that means that the apartment is now empty. So she had a lot of her things still left at the apartment because they used to live together, but obviously since they're broken up, they're not anymore. So she goes back to the apartment to get her things, and while she's there, she's like reminiscing and she's like sitting on his bed and she's smelling his clothes, and suddenly she's all caught up in the feels. It's like, girl, do you not remember what he did to you? She's crying in his bed or whatever, and then she finds a package that he left for her. It was a birthday gift, and my man's bought her a Kindle, and I'm just like, you're telling me you're going to choose the man who bought you a Kindle Fire, which anyone can get for maybe 30 bucks off of Amazon, over a man who went out of his way to find you a car where you can pay minimum payments on and gave you free car insurance? So she's getting her things, and then all of a sudden she hears the door open and she's like really confused. She's just like, I thought Hardin was leaving. She's hiding because she doesn't want him to know that she's there. And then she starts overhearing a conversation that he's having with a womanly voice. Ooh. Hardin starts telling this woman, hey, you want me to draw you a bath? And she's just like, oh yes, I remember when you and I used to take baths together. And then for some reason Tessa is pressed. It's like, y'all are broken up. What's not clicking? But then she finds out that, oh, it's his mom. Hardin guilts Tessa into pretending that they're still together, which again is stupid. And then Hardin's mom convinces Tessa to stay so she can celebrate her birthday with her because Hardin's mom's just like, oh, we'll never know when I'll see you again. So they celebrate. Hardin's mom is asleep on the couch. For some reason, Tessa decides to stay the night, which again, there's no reason for her to stay the night. She has her own college dorm because in the first movie, after she breaks up with Hardin, she moves back into her dorm. So why the frick? Walking into toxic situations like you want it. I don't know why you would want this, babe. Needless to say, she spends the night. They share the same bed, and they did the devil's tango, if you will. So it's the next morning. She's saying goodbye to Hardin's mom. There's a quick cut montage to her driving to her mom's house. And I will say, if anything, this movie had a significant less amount of montages. The first movie, it was just full of that, and it was so annoying. So I will applaud them on getting rid of that whole thing in this film, okay? But that's literally the bare minimum. So she's at home, she's walking in the door, and then Noah shows up as if he was like standing outside of the hedge, like waiting for her to come. And then he gives her the most awkward hug, and like, if anything, this was the most realistic situation because I've been in and I've seen situations like this where it's so awkward that you can taste it. So Noah's like chatting with her and they start talking about her internship, and then he brings up her dad and she's just like, what about my dad? And he's like, oh, never mind. And then just then he gets a call from Tessa's mom, and It might just be me. But does anyone else think it's weird that your ex-boyfriend has your mother's phone number on speed dial? That could just be me, but that is a little sus. Honestly, I hate Tessa's mom so much. This is the most pinnacle toxic thing I've ever heard. Like, I've seen toxic parenting firsthand, and this is a prime example of it. I'll read you the note. Her mom is so toxic, like her not telling Tessa about her dad is not the same as a Hardin situation, and the fact that she's bringing it up is prime toxic parenting behavior, because for some reason, Tessa's mom is still hurt by the fact that Tessa dated Hardin and then that whole thing happened. And obviously, Tessa's mom is trying to live vicariously through Tessa, but at the same time, that happened to Tessa. You were no way involved with this. Like, that whole Hardin thing had no effect on you in your life, your social status. Like, I don't get why you're so offended by it. The fact that, like, it happened months ago and you guys apparently made up from it, and now you're, like, bringing it back all of a sudden. Like, Tessa was upset that, like, Tessa's mom had gotten contact from her dad and Tessa's mom didn't tell her about it, because that's literally her father. Like, I think if you wanted to know about your dad and your dad was trying to reach out to you and, like, you have been curious about him, then, like, you would be rightfully upset. And so she makes a point to say that, and then Tessa's mom, really? You're giving me this attitude? I knew you weren't over that Hardin boy, which is like, what do those two have to do together? I don't. So she hangs up the phone, she dips out because she realizes, I don't want a part of this. This is stupid. And, she goes back to Hardin instead of going back to her freaking, she has a dorm room. Why is she going back to the apartment that they shared? I don't know. Also, doesn't she have school? Why are you, where? So we find out that Hardin has trauma. Hardin continuously gets nightmares, basically relives his childhood every now and then, and he has a nightmare with Tessa because she says something. I think they're together at this point. I think they've gotten back together again. That's not the band that I wanted to see, but all right. So then, oh my gosh, dude, I hate this movie so much. Like, this is another prime example of the bad messages that this movie is teaching. So, let me break it down for you. Basically, it's the next day, and Hardin's still sleeping, and it's just Tessa and Hardin's mom, and they're at the kitchen table, and they're talking about Hardin. Hardin's mom asks her, like, has he gotten better? And Tessa tells her that he's kind of been like this ever since. And then Hardin's mom explains to Tessa that he's been having these nightmares ever since he was a kid, and she took him to every therapist under the sun. She took him to therapist after therapist after therapist. She makes a point to say that, but nothing seemed to work to the point where he found that he needed to self-medicate with alcohol. So we love drug abuse. And then Hardin's mom says that after he met Tessa, after Hardin met Tessa, everything got better. Why are we still doing this? Can we please kill the narrative that love heals all? I'm especially sick of this idea that if you have a broken man, a woman will fix him, as if that's her job. Like, an example for you, I had a friend who told me that, like, her boyfriend or whatever, you know, they're planning their life together and whatnot, and she made a point to tell him that, like, I'm not gonna get married to you unless you get therapy. And straight up, this man looked at her and said, I don't need therapy. I've got you. No! I want to point out that I do know this guy and he's a really nice kid. It's just, there really is this mindset that men don't need therapy because women exist to fix them. No, women do not exist to fix you. They do not exist to please you. They do not exist for your gratification. And so it's the fact that this movie literally said that, like, oh, Tessa, your love has healed him. Like, without you, he would be worse off now. Like, that's not her job. Tessa is not a licensed therapist. She's not a psychologist, not a psychiatrist. No, he needs therapy because whatever this is that she has with him is not healthy. It's not helping him. Like, yes, I think that if you can find someone that makes you want to be a better person, that's good, but you need to know when to not cross the line of this person exists in my life and I love them and I want to get better so I can be with them and be the best person that I can be my best version for this person. There's a difference between someone being, you know, your motivation and helping you than someone literally being your lifeline that didn't ask you. That's not, can we please stop doing this? So Hardin wakes up and oh my gosh, it's time for the bare minimum. Hardin says that for her birthday, they can do anything she wants and he won't whine about it. So they go ice skating, and the cut to it, it's kind of funny, but Hardin can't ice skate, so it kind of cuts to him falling down all the time, although I'm pretty sure it's the same clip of him falling down. I could be wrong, but I feel like it's the same clip. But of course, he whines about it, so he couldn't even follow that promise he made. So then they decide to go do hot yoga. They end up doing the wrong class, and the entire time, Hardin's making these passes at Tessa, and I'm wondering if everyone can hear because he's so loud. So then they start getting all weird and flirtatious with the yoga, which if that's a turn on for you, then okay. To be honest, I was kind of distracted the entire time because there was a woman in the background with dreads, except she was white, so that was a little cultural appropriation. We're not gonna get into that. So after their hormones get in a disarray because of the hot yoga, they decide to go have another tango of the devil's kind in the shower, which was very uncomfortable to watch. But then while they're having their nasty time, they get interrupted by a call from her boss, who asks Tessa to go play babysitter. All right, I don't know why, but okay. So then after they watch this kid and like Hardin kind of bonds with him, but not really. So everyone from the office is gone. I don't know why they stayed late because Tessa only got called in to watch the kid. I don't know, it doesn't matter, I guess. So the office is empty. Hardin gives her a Christmas gift and it's like a charm bracelet, and on it has a quote from her favorite book that's supposed to imply that this is what their relationships are mine, or like something along the lines of his or mine are the same. Like basically they're saying that our souls are the same, which they're really not. I don't know who told you that you two are written in the stars. Everything in your life has brought you two together, because it's really not. It's just poor decisions made one after another that y'all are not ceasing to do for some reason. I hate this. I hate this so much because now they're officially getting back together because they weren't together, but now they're getting back together because Tessa says, I didn't get you a gift. Is there anything you want? And then Hardin's like, another chance? And then Tessa's like, do you promise to be like this every day? And then straight up, this man says, no. He won't even do the bare minimum for you. Why do you find that attractive? So once again, they go at it. The scene cuts to the following day. I guess Hardin's dad invites Hardin's mom, because he knows that she's in town, to their Christmas party in the middle of July. Great. She accepts. And so they're all gonna go to this Christmas party. Hardin's mom, Hardin, and Tessa. They go to the Christmas party, so they're about to eat dinner, and then Hardin just blows up in his dad's face. And honestly, it was kind of funny because Hardin's he's obviously drunk. And so he's going off at his dad, and his dad's just like, can we take this to a private place? So Hardin and his dad, they go outside, but everyone who was around them when, you know, he started fighting, they all follow after him. And then Hardin gets upset and he punches his dad in the face. His mom is upset with him, and so they leave, and then Hardin's mom goes back to London. Tessa gives Hardin some space to breathe. Hardin, of course, doesn't do that. He throws a lamp against the wall and he listens to his angry music. So then Tessa comes back and, you know, he's still not fine. So then Tessa goes to work the next day and she has lunch with Trevor and they talk about Hardin. This part severely bothered me. I know so many things. Ow, that hurt. Tessa is venting to Trevor, and I kid you not, she says, I thought that things were getting better, but it's clear that he has a lot of stuff he has to deal with, and I just feel really bad for him, and I don't know how to fix it. Sis, that's not your job. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this so much. Like, what is it gonna take? It is 2020. We have progressed past the need to project this narrative. After lunch, Trevor says he's moving to Seattle for another position because apparently the Vance company is expanding. And on Tessa's way out, he tells her that he knows what it's like to love someone who struggles with addiction, and he tells her that it doesn't end well. But Tessa ignores his warning and is just like, nah, we're built different. So through the power of montage, we see Hardin make up with his dad, and he replaces the lamp that he broke in a fit of rage, and then we cut to them chilling on the couch, and then Hardin gets invited to a New Year's Eve party at the frat house, and the two decide to go, which I don't know what part of her thought, yeah, this is a wise decision to make. As Tessa's getting ready to go to the party, she gets a call from her super boss, Vance. He offers her a job at his new company in Seattle. He has a position that he's been looking to fill, and he realizes that Tessa's the perfect candidate for him. And also, he's just couldn't be bothered to do the research to find someone who's probably more suitable for the job. Just why end things. Literally, dude, I want to work at this company so bad because my man literally said that her whole life, it will be supported. Like literally, if she moves to Seattle and takes this job, her tuition, her housing, her transportation will all be funded. They're gonna pay for that ish. Yes, this is like out of the blue and like she has to like consider, do I want to really move across the state or whatever? She says she has to consider it, which, okay, sure, but like take that deal, sis. Oh my gosh, it's literally your dream job that you're getting paid ridiculously for. Oh, to be the main character. Oh, to be YN. LOL, it's Walmart Zayn and Gigi Hadid. Anyways, they get to the party and I think everything's all good between Tessa and the gang now. I don't know, but like Tessa seems fine, so I guess it's fine. So she plays beer pong, and then there's like this awkward cut to Hardin looking behind him, even though we, the audience, don't know where he's looking at, and then it cuts to him going up to this random girl to talk to. So then Hardin talks to this girl for a hot second. Then he goes to Tessa and he's like, hey, can we leave? And she's just like, sure. So like they're about to dip out. Then Molly shows up, and Molly being Molly and drunk Tessa being drunk Tessa, Tessa takes the bait and they end up hanging about for a little bit longer. And then this ensues. They start playing Truth or Dare. And honestly, it's so uncomfortable to watch. Molly's just like, oh, are you a virgin? Oh wait, you're not, because Hardin took it from you, which is like, okay, we know, we were there when that whole thing went down. And then Tessa's just like, Molly, you're a whore. And everyone's like, dang, which is just like, personally, I hate it when people call women whores because they sleep around a lot, but they don't hold that same standard to men, because logistically speaking, a whore is a whore, somebody who sleeps around with a lot of people. And again, it comes back to the misogyny that we've embedded in our society and the way that we view women. And like, maybe Tessa is correct in what she's saying, that like, yes, Molly is a whore because she sleeps around, which like, okay, whatever, that's her decision. She's a consenting adult. I really don't care. But it's also annoying the fact that like Hardin, who didn't want to be in the situation, he's like, can we please go? I literally hate this and all this stuff. But the minute that like Tessa says something like, oh, you're a whore, he's like, haha, yeah, you are. You know, you slept with her too, right? You're just as much as a whore as she is. What are you so excited about? But then Molly calls Tessa a dumbass. That's what she calls her. I know I don't normally swear, but I literally just said the word whore for like 5 minutes straight. She calls her an idiot, essentially, for getting back with Hardin, which she is correct in her statement. Then the most ridiculous thing happens. The two girls fight. And to be honest with you, I kind of lost it. I was having a field day.
Oh my gosh. Why are y'all fighting? Why are y'all fighting over a colonizer? No, never over a man. Y'all. Y'all need, oh my gosh. Girls, he's not even that cute.
It's the fact that like these two girls are literally fighting over like a dude that is mediocre at best. I would understand if you're fighting over Jungkook like that. I could totally, I get where you're coming from. I would do the same. Maybe not, but I understand where you're coming from. Hardin breaks up the fight and he takes Tessa upstairs to chill, but instead, they get it on once more, because that is how we resolve all of our situations. Yup. After they're done, Tessa goes to the bathroom and Hardin picks up her phone to see the messages from Trevor congratulating her on the new office job. And Hardin's upset because heaven forbid your girlfriend have her own dreams and aspirations that don't involve you. So he's angry, he leaves. She follows after him and misreads a situation that he has with the blue girl from earlier. This whole thing is very telling of their relationship, because instead of asking him what that was about, she immediately assumes that he cheated on her. And so what does she do? As she's running out the door, she goes and kisses some random dude right in front of her as payback. Like, y'all are so toxic. Why are you not getting that? So they fight. It's awkward. Hardin doesn't come home, so she goes out looking for him. And as she's looking for him, she gives him a voicemail again because he's not responding to her text. And then she throws her phone on the floor. Like, it'd be one thing if she threw it onto the seat next to her and it bounced off, but no, she straight up like tosses it on the floor. Like, why would you do that? Like, be a normal person and put it in the cup holder. So Hardin's getting a ride home and his phone was dead, so as he's charging it, he finally sees the missed messages, and so he calls her while she's at a red light, and so she sees that she's getting a call from Hardin, so she goes to pick up her phone, but she can't reach it because again, she threw it on the floor. But then the light turns green. She goes, and then she gets hit by a car, which was useless because literally the next day she's fine. As Hardin's driving, he notices that there's a wreck, and the car in the wreck is Tessa's, and then Tessa's getting taken away by the ambulance. Then he pulls over, and then he starts running after the car like he's the Flash or something. I don't. Then Hardin's trying to figure out where she's at. He's been calling every hospital in the area, and then he gets a call from Tessa's phone from Trevor, and Trevor sets the record straight. Literally, this man is so iconic. This man is standing, hand on his hip, cell phone in hand, saying, you're toxic and you're bad for her. Honestly, he carried this entire film. Dude, I want to work for this company. Not only are they paying for her car insurance, they offer to pay for her college tuition, her housing, and her transportation expenses, but they also cover her medical insurance. So after this call from Trevor, Hardin just kind of dips. He goes to London. He leaves a letter to explain what's up, like what's happening, because this man cannot physically apologize for the life of him. Hardin has a chat with his mom. She tells him to go to the party and to get Tessa back. So the movie cuts to the going away party, which ends up turning into an engagement party. Hurrah! Trevor decides to come clean to Tessa about telling Hardin to go away, and Tessa takes it pretty well. Like, you'd think that she'd be like, I can't believe you interfere with my life, but she's like, oh, okay. Trevor excuses himself, and then Tessa looks up, startled to see Hardin, so she dips out of there. Hardin runs after Tessa. He thinks that she left, but oh, she didn't. Wrong Uber. Hers shows up, and instead of just leaving, she invites him in. Again, micromanaging, but there's a callback to the beginning, and it's the Uber lady from the first time Tessa's getting an Uber, and the woman's just like, so you guys have a good Christmas? Not even a second passes by. Okay, you're not talking. Sis, you didn't You didn't give him a chance to speak. Everything's fine. Hardin monologues about something like, our story is not like other ones. And then he gets another tattoo. Yippee-da-doo day. And oh, look at that, it's Tessa's father. The end. In case you couldn't tell how I feel about this movie, I'm just mildly bothered by it. I have a feeling that this video is going to be excruciatingly long, so if you got to this point, thank you so much for sticking around and listening to me yell. Apparently you guys find this entertaining, so at least my suffering brought someone joy. I want to say thank you again to Rosetta Stone for sponsoring this video. I am exhausted, so if you need me, I'm just gonna go watch some Jungian compilation videos because I need my soul to be replenished. Oh my gosh. So I'm off. I've got places to go, people to meet, worlds to conquer. Until next time, from always, Nadia. Okay, bye!